Hello guys and welcome to your first lecture on cascading style sheet, also called CSS. So in this first course we are going to be doing a lot of stuff, but first we're going to talk about CSS width, CSS height, CSS background, CSS colors, padding, and a whole lot more. I do hope you enjoy this course and please stay tuned and watch till the end. Thank you. So welcome guys to this exciting tutorials on CSS. So as you can see, I have an HTML file, as you can see here, with an H1 and an image tag, then an H2. You can pause for now and create this, but please make sure you have an image on the folder that you are using to learn this. So first let me show you what I have on my browser. And here you can see we have something like this. We have an H1 saying my website, a big bold image, and then an H2 saying an image. So what we are going to do today is try to learn how to style these various elements that we have here with CSS. So the first thing that we are going to do is come here on this button, click on new file, and then write something like, let me say styles, styles.css. Click enter, and you can see now we have a CSS file here. So after that, go back to your HTML file and let's link this file. So before your title, come here and type link. Now go down for link.css, and you can see mine was written as style.css, but we will correct that to styles because we had an S there. Then save that, go back to your CSS. So in CSS, when we try to style element, we first of all call the element in that CSS development environment. So let's go here, and the first thing that we are going to style here is this image. Now to get this image, we can use the image tag or we use a class, but now we will not go into using classes first. So we are going to learn on using the image tags and element tags for styling. So first let's come here, let's come down and write img. After writing img, press this opening bracket. Now when you press this curly braces, it means that you are trying to style image tag. So all the style that you will declare for this personal tag should be implemented for the image that we have in the browser. So the first thing we are going to do is declare a width. We can set our width to something 400 pixels, and I talked about pixel in our HTML course, and we have an height also, an height of 300 pixels. So let's save that and see what we have on our browser. Okay, now you see we have an image of 400 by 300 pixels, the length being 400 and the height is just 300 pixels. So let me try minimizing this. Let me bring it here so that you can see. So maybe if you look at the image closely, you notice that it looks some kind of squash, or should I say squished. So let me make the height and the same. You can come here and say 400. Save that, use Ctrl S or Command S if you are using Mac. Save that, and you can see now the image looks much more better. So what else can we do? There's something called a margin, and now there's a margin top, a margin bottom, and a margin left. But if you use this command, this margin, if you use the normal margin, should I say tag or whatever, if you use the normal margin and try to write something like, let's say 50 pixels to text that, you will notice that from the left, the top, the bottom, and also the right, our browser gave it a margin of 50 pixels. So if you want to push it to a particular side, or you want to move the margin from a particular point, you can come and write a point. For example, let me resave this first. Now let's say we want to push this guy away from here, like we want to move it away from the left. So I can say margin margin left, and we can then say 20 pixels to push it only from the left hand side, and you can see we have that. Except from using pixels, you can also use percentage. You can see 20%, save that, and you can see push that 20% away from that side. So it's either you use percentage or pixel, but I like using pixels for some reasons. So let's say 30 pixels, and the next thing we are going to do here is to, let's also give it a margin top. We should push it away from the top. So let's say margin top of 5 pixels. And here is something cool that I can also do. What if I want to move this particular picture on top of this website here? So let me teach you a good trick in CSS. So let me clean this up first. So I can write something like minus 100 pixel, which will push this guy minus 100 pixel to the top. You see that now? Yeah. So let me get that away from there and put it back at say 5 pixels. So yeah, we have that, and there's another cool thing we can do. If we try cutting the edges of a picture, like we want to make the edges of this picture, or want to make the picture round, we don't like it being in this square format, so I can just say there's something called border radius. And to make it a perfect cycle, I can write 50%. And you see the image turned into a cycle, or I can use pixels to cut little edges away from that picture. And you can see we have little edges away. Or there's another thing we can do with this border radius, which makes it look much more cooler. So what if I want to cut only this part and this part of the picture, while leaving this one the way that they are? So I can say 50 pixel, meaning 50 pixel from the right, then 0 pixel to the left. So I'll explain that more in detail. Wait, okay, first let's look at what we did here. Now you can see from here we just took 50 pixels away from here and 50 pixels away from here. So what we just did in declaring let me show you that again. In declaring border radius accepts 4 parameters, which is called the top left, the top right, the bottom left, and the bottom right. So the first we have here is the top left. We can cut images from the top left, and we can also cut from the top right. But if you declare a border radius with 2 variables, it assumes that you are declaring these parameters only for this side, which is the top left and the top right, meaning the bottom right of this picture will take the values of the top left. So if I try to let me try declaring 4 variables for you to see. So let me get out. Oh God. If I try declaring 4 variables for this, and let me push this here a little bit and say let the next one be around let's say 20 pixels, and the lags we can move that so that we have different values. I can say 90 pixels to see what I'm saying. Okay, and when we come here, you can see this now has different shapes. First we have let me pull up this for you. First we had 50 pixels for this guy, then just please give me a moment. First we have 50 pixels for this guy, then we have 0 pixels for this other one, 20 pixels for this, and the last 90 pixels, which is this. So that's what border radius can do. But instead of declaring this much parameters, I can just say make the whole thing round about 15%, so that it could be a perfect cycle. And you can see here, that's what we have. But we're not actually using this, so I will bring that back to 10 pixels. And you can see now we have these beautiful curved edges around the pictures. So yeah, that's what we can do. So now let's leave this image and go to the next, which is the H1. So when you open our index.html, you can see we also add an H1, this H1. So we can come here and write out the tag H1, open this squiggly bracket as I normally call it. And the first thing we are going to do, let's also give it margin left of 10 pixels. Save that. You can see we pulled that 10 pixels to from the left to the right. And yeah, the next thing we are going to do now, let's change the color of the text. We don't like it being black, so color, I can say aqua. I can see that we have changed the color. Then the next thing we are going to do is called the background color. Background color, I can set it to, let's say something like, okay, let's say black. Let's set the background color to black, and you can see we have this color here. Now notice something. You see that, sorry, our HTML gives this guy a default width to fill the whole screen. So in order for us to fix this, what we should do is come here and define our width for it. We can say, let's give it a width of let's say 100 pixels. Okay, 100 pixels will make it look bad, so let's say 250 pixels. Yeah, 250 pixels is better. And the next thing we are going to do to make these edges round like we did here, we can also set border radius, and we can set that to 10 pixels. Let's see what that, okay, that's better. Then the next thing we are going to do, if you notice, if you look at this very well, you see that the text inside is somehow pushed to this part of the H1. So we want to move the text to the center. So doing that, you can use a simple method called the padding. And we can set, let's use padding left first. Padding left 10 pixels, save that, and you can see this. We have this now. Or if we want to set such padding to all of, should I say, all of the text in the H1 element, what we can do is just define a simple padding method. You just write a padding, hit padding, and I can say 20 pixels. So everywhere, yeah, you can see that everywhere of in every area of the H1 element, you have a padding of 20 pixels. So, but we are not actually using that. So instead, and the padding also can take 24 parameters, but I like using padding left for in case we are troubleshooting. So I say padding left 20 px. So and that's a little bit better now. Or we can even move this up to 40. Let's see. I think 40 will be better. Yeah. Let's leave it at 40. Okay. We have something good now. So now what if when we come here, we want this to show like a click symbol? You know that little hand symbol you used to see on when you want to click a link on the website. So what we can just do, set something called cursor, and set it to pointer. So we'll save this. Now notice this, when we come here, when we come here now, you can see that our cursor now turns to pointer whenever we are on this. So that's what we have there. So I think you are following up very well. So the next thing that we are going to do is also style this H2. So we can see right H2, open these squiggly brackets, and what is the first thing we're going to do? Let's also change the color. Let's change the color to white. Now when we change the color to white, we won't be able to see this because it's all white here. So in order for us to view that, we can just say set the background color to something black, and when we save that, you see that there. Okay, and what are we going to do again? We can set the width. We can set the width to, let's say, 200 pixels. You can also use percentage if you want to, but I like pixels more. 200 pixels, and the next thing we're going to do is also make some padding. Let's give it some padding left of 50 pixels. You can see we have that. Let's also make it round. So we can set the border radius. Set the border radius to 20 pixels. And yeah, so this is what we have done so far for this first introduction to CSS for the first project. So let me close this up first. For more projects, we'll be doing a lot of exciting things, and I'm sure you think that these other projects that we're going to that will be much more harder. But actually, what you need in learning CSS is patience. When you're patient and you always try to practice, I'm very, very sure that you'll be perfect at it. You might even be better than me. I'm sure you'll be better than me. So before we go out of this, let's try changing the background color of this thing, like the full body. Let's change the color. Now to change the color of your website, you can also declare the body. The body is also a method you can also use in CSS, and you can set your body background color. Let's set the background color to red. Yeah, you can see we have that. Whatever like I do. Let me take it out first. Background color to let's say gray. And yeah, you can see we have a gray color here. But there are also other methods you can use here. You can set an image to your background. So to do that, you say background, and you can see background image here. Click on that, and I'm not sure how the URL. Call on the URL and the image that you have, keyboard dot jpg. And when you come here now, you can see we have set this image that we had here for the background, but we don't actually need that. Let's get started off and just set a background color for that instead of an image. Let me clean that and say background color gray. Save that, and yeah, so this is what we have so far. See you up in the next class.